There's a famous quote that says, "Time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. But once you've lost it, you can never get it back." I often think of this in my own financial journey and picture just how different my life would be if I didn't make those silly mistakes. How much money I would have saved, how much stress I could have prevented, and how much further along in my career that I could be. I can't go back in time. I've already spent it. But maybe I can help prevent you from making the same mistakes that I have. So today in this video, I'm going to tell you 5 financial mistakes that I've made so that you don't have to. Number 1, credit cards. There's this saying in your brain that switches when you turn 18 and you think to yourself, hey, I can get a credit card. I can have money to buy stuff. I can get that new car, that new PlayStation. You watch a couple videos on how to build credit for beginners. You get a low limit credit card. You do good for a few months or maybe even a few years. And then what happens? The bank increases your limit. More money to spend. It's an attainable amount, so you max out the card and then pay it off a few times. The credit card company increases your limit again, but this time when you max it out, it's too much to pay off. It's tens of thousands of dollars instead of just a few hundred. I've heard the story too many times and I've lived it. Credit card debt is one of the top financial stressors in the world.
US consumers walking towards a cliff, basically.
And this is due to its insane amount of interest. The interest on a credit card is 5 to 10 times more than the interest charged on a mortgage, auto loan, or a personal loan. I personally spent the first 5 years of my working life trying to get out of debt. But what if I didn't have this debt? It would have saved me over $1,100 per month. If I could have invested $1,100 per month for 5 years at an average return of 10%, I would have over $80,000 in that account. And that is the real cost of debt. Number 2, car buying. This is one of those things that you don't realize you messed up until a few years down the road when you try to sell the car and you're upside down thousands of dollars. Most younger adults get taken advantage of when they go by themselves to buy a car. The finance guy talks them into buying extra warranties and gap coverages that they really don't need. Warranties are rarely used, and when you do need it, typically the stuff that you need fixed isn't covered under the warranty and you end up paying for it anyways. Gap coverage is only used when you buy a new car that depreciates and then you total it. This happens to some people, but most of the time, it doesn't. The reason the finance guy at the car dealership tries to get you to buy this is because they make 50 to 100% in commissions on these products. So anything extra you buy, it goes to the back end of your loan and it goes straight to their pockets. So anytime you go into that office to finalize the deal, say no to everything, no matter how bad or awkward you feel for doing it. My advice is look at the car price online, and when they give you the final loan documents and the total amount doesn't equal that online price, don't sign and ask why. They're selling to you, the buyer, so it's their job to satisfy you. It's not the other way around. Number 3, investing. Most people start working around the age of 20 or a couple years later after they get out of college. Imagine if you were to start investing in your early 20s. What would that look like and how much would you have at retirement? If we pull up a compounding interest calculator, we can plug in the numbers. Our initial investment is 0 because we're just getting started. Our monthly contribution will be $100 per month. Our length of time will be 45 years because the average person retires around 65. Our estimated interest rate will be 10%, which is what the S&P 500 index has averaged every year for the last 100 years. Click calculate, and this shows you that once you retire, you will have over $1 million in that account. But what if we were to wait to start investing until we're 30? Replug in the numbers, and just from waiting that extra 10 years to start, you will only have $379,000, almost $700,000 less. And that is the power of compounding interest. This proves that it's better to start investing earlier than later, and who doesn't want to be a millionaire if it's that easy? Number 4, education. When we're in school, it feels like the worst thing ever. We search and search for the finish line and can't wait for it to be over. Therefore, when getting a further education is an option, we turn the other direction and we say to ourselves, yeah, right, I barely made it through this one. We think to ourselves, if we need it for our careers in the future, we'll just go back to school at that time. But for now, I need a break. I got my bachelor's degree and graduated a year early. I had the option to stay and do a 1-year MBA, but I couldn't fathom the thought of going to school for another year. I was ready to start working and making money. Now, 6 years later, I've tried going back to school twice, and every time, life has gotten in the way. Once we get out of school, we have more responsibilities, a 9-to-5 job, bills, and a family. This makes squeezing in those extra hours of study time really difficult. Now, I'm at a place in my career that if I did have it, I could be making almost double. A study from Transparent Career shows that MBA graduates reported a 46% increase in salary, $95,000 extra per year in compensation, and over an extra $3 million more in lifetime earnings. So, how do you become a millionaire? Further your education. Number 5, consistency. In today's society, the average young adult stays at the same job no more than 2 years. And outside of their job, most people have side hustles in hopes of getting rich and being successful. Most side hustlers do a specific thing for a month or two and then switch to the next. But what would happen if you stuck to just one job or one side hustle for years? It's inevitable that you would become better and get really good at that one thing. The issue is we don't give things enough time and consistent effort to succeed. Early on in my career, I switched jobs a few different times and probably started around 10 side hustles and gave the majority of them no more than 2 months at a time. I see it's not working or too hard, so I quit. But the question is, who is actually successful in the first 2 months in doing something new? You've heard it before, but Thomas Edison failed at creating the light bulb over 1,000 times. J.K. Rowling was rejected by over a dozen publishers for Harry Potter. Walt Disney was labeled as not creative enough. What did all of these people do? They stuck with it and then made millions. My advice is to give a job at least 4 years and a side hustle at least 6 months. I didn't get good at my current job until the 3rd year. Now I make more than I ever have and have developed skills that I never thought I could have. The funny thing is that I thought about quitting after my 2nd year, and I would have never seen the positive change that would eventually happen. If you found value in this video, hit that like and subscribe button. And as always, leave your comment with the question below so I can answer yours in the next video.